Okay, I am so excited for this watch. It took like 2 weeks to get here. So this is the new OnePlus Watch 4, and this is how it looks on my wrist. But it looks kind of similar to my Watch 3. Uh-oh. Thanks for tuning in to another video, and this is the OnePlus Watch 4. This is essentially the same watch as the Oppo X3. So if you were looking for information on that, stay tuned. And you get a beautiful 1.5-inch AMOLED screen covered with sapphire crystals. So that is really nice, and you do get a nice sharp screen with great colors and resolution. The maximum brightness is increased to 3000 nits. I'll test that because the peak brightness might only be available in certain modes. So stay tuned for my full review on that. You do get the same button over here and the same rotating crown, which actually feels really nice. You get a little haptic feedback every time you move it, so that's great. But the Watch 4 is made out of titanium. And the back is still fiberglass here, but that's okay. That's on the back, and this is my first impressions video, so let me just go ahead and take this off. And looks about the same, right? And then here we go with the crown and the button. And this is a little lighter than the Watch 3, and actually you could tell the difference. Just have them both in hand. The Watch 4 is definitely much lighter, and it is actually also a little thinner than the Watch 3. You want me to get the Watch 3? There we go. That's the difference there. I mean, it's not terribly thinner, but it is much lighter that you could actually feel. Now, do you want to see what's inside the box? Okay, I'll do a real fast unbox here. It will be fast, but if you're not interested, just skip to the next chapter. So let's see what's inside. I can feel right away that it is lighter than the OnePlus Watch 3. We get the NFC reader up here, it lets me know that. And of course it lets me know there is a crown up here, and there's a button down here. Oh, this actually feels better than the Watch 3. Okay, so let's take this out. Oh, and these straps actually feel much better. Let's see what else is in the box. Over here we got our charger. And actually get a pretty long charging cable. USB-A to USB-C. But pretty long, I'd say. And then over here is just our paperwork. And on all my watch videos, I like to change the watch faces just so you can get an idea of what is available. The Watch 4 is upgraded to IP69 water resistance. So that is great. It gives you protection against high pressure water and condensation. And the band is a little different than the Watch 3, and it actually feels much better, much softer. And it does feel a little more flexible than the Watch 3. This one, I hated it that you can never lie it flat, and that I didn't like that. So the Watch 4 does get better in that area. We do get the same colors on the Watch 4, green and black still. I mean, come on, OnePlus. It's been green and black for like 3 years. Give me a white or a silver or something different. But you also get Wear OS 6 out of the box on this one, which is the latest Wear OS version. And of course, you'll have access to all the Google apps and Play Store. But I think the big selling point of this watch is the battery life. The battery life is 5 days in smart mode. And smart mode is just what you're used to using if you use a Samsung watch or a Pixel watch or anything like that. Smart mode is you just using everything. You get 5 days. But the secret of the OnePlus Watch 4 is that you have a power saving mode. And if you're in that mode, you get up to 16 days of battery life, which is the best thing about this watch, I think. And you do get a lot of features in the power saving mode, more than you would think. Check out my full review for all the details on that. But you might find yourself using the power saving mode more often than you think, and then you're going to get up to 2 weeks of battery life, which is amazing for a Wear OS watch. Now, it does get this battery life because it does have a 646 milliamp hour battery, which is bigger than average, but more importantly, it has 2 processors in there. There's the Snapdragon W5, which handles all your Wear OS and Google functions, but then you also get a low-powered chip, which is the BES 2800 chip, if you were interested, but that chip handles everything else, like your sleep tracking, your heart rate, your steps, even phone calls. I don't know why every watch doesn't have this. On the OnePlus Watch 4 here, you're going to get 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage, which is the same thing as the OnePlus Watch 3, which I think is plenty, and I had no issues with that on the Watch 3. And of course, you get all your usual fitness tracking, your heart rate, your SpO2, your stress, your sleep stages. You also get a 60-second checkup. Let me show you that. Now, a thing I just noticed, but on the Watch 4, you lose vascular health, which was on the OnePlus Watch 3. I'm not sure why that was removed. I'll look into that a little bit more for the full review. But we still got the 60-second wellness overview, so let me click on that. And I don't think it takes quite 60 seconds, but I'll fast forward through this. And a lot of this information it doesn't have because I've just put it on. But here's normal, it says. Okay, that's great. It gives you your heart health, your sleep health, and it gives you, a couple of metrics in there, which would normally be filled in if I wore this for a couple of days. Your mind and body. And that does that all in that one measurement, which is nice. You also do get dual band GPS on this, and I'll again test that on my full review, but I had no issues with the GPS on the OnePlus Watch 3 or the OnePlus Watch 2 for that matter. A bit of a con is that this is Bluetooth only, so you need to have your phone nearby if you want to get your notifications and make phone calls and things like that. There is no LTE version on the OnePlus. And also, speaking of cons, which doesn't bother me, I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and this is what it looks like on me, and I think the 1.5-inch screen is just fine. But if you wanted a smaller version, well, it does not exist on the Watch 4. But keep in mind, the OnePlus released the Watch 3, just the larger version, and then several months later came out with a smaller version. So it is still possible that we are going to get a smaller version of the OnePlus Watch 4 in the future, but as of now, just the larger version. You also do get fall detection on this. You do get NFC, so you can make mobile payments with this, and you get Gemini built in at release, because you never know when you're going to get a software release, so it's always good to get these things built in right away. Okay, so to do anything with the OnePlus, we need the O Health app right here. And I actually did have to film this again because the image was all a little blurry on the first time, so hopefully it works out a little bit better, but that is why there is some sleep data here. But the app looks exactly the same between the OnePlus Watch 3 and the OnePlus Watch 4 and even the OnePlus Watch 2. I don't think there was really any changes. So this is the home portion of the app, and you get some basic health data here, which is not bad. But there is very limited customization on this, which I'll get into on the full review. But I just wanted to show you what to expect here, and I'll show you what is available in the device settings. So for the watch faces, initially it looked like it was exactly the same between the Watch 3 and the Watch 4. But now I'm actually refilming this, and as I'm going through the watch faces now, it does look like they did do an update, and they did add some watch faces here, because there's a lot more on the Watch 4, and there's different designs that I don't remember seeing on the Watch 3. So just going through here, it just gives you an idea of what's available. I think they have a lot to pick from. There's a pretty good variety. Now, of course, remember, you could also use any watch face from the Google Play Store, which, I mean, there's a lot there. I like to have the built-in warrants here because I know they work with the OnePlus software very well, and they're not going to kill the battery or do anything weird, and there's no extra bugs or anything like that. So I do like having the built-in ones, but again, these are the ones that are built in, and you can get any ones that you want from the Google Play Store. And there's just a few options here on the app, pretty basic stuff here. Let me just hit more just to show you. And I'll go through a little bit more of this in the full review and the tips and tricks video. But let me just show you the tiles here. And this is what is available. And actually they did add a couple from the Watch 3, so which is always nice. So here we go. There's a couple more that you can add. And I'll just click on this. This is your workout. And again, we do have the fall detection, which is always nice. And there's just some basic stuff there. And I'll go through this in more detail, like I said, in either the full review or the tips and tricks. And I'll point out any important features that you need to know about. So I'm going to go through the watch navigation quick and just show you where everything is. But we're coming to the end of the video, so keep watching just for a little longer. So we just scroll down here, we're going to get our quick toggles, real easy to access, which is nice. Scroll up, you get your notifications. Or you could just, swipe, either way. Then we swipe over this way, we get our widgets, which just kind of make a loop over around here, and it just connects back up. To the battery again. There we go. And if you just hit the button here, we get into our app list. And I'll just show you what's here. The rotating scrolling wheel here feels really nice. Real easy to access everything, which I always love on a watch. I love the rotating crown, but that's it there. So first impressions so far, a great watch. I mean, OnePlus makes great watches, and I love the extra battery life, and I love the power saving mode. That is just really puts this as one of the best Wear OS watches usually. I'll compare this with the Pixel Watch 4 and the new Samsung watches that are becoming out in the next month or so. But first impressions here, if you have a OnePlus Watch 3, I really don't think there's a reason to upgrade unless you just want the latest watch, which, hey, no qualms with that. I mean, I can understand that completely. But if you don't have either of these, then I would get the Watch 4 because it does have a few extra features, which I'll talk about on my full review. But if you can get the Watch 3 for a discount, that would probably be your smarter move. So what do you think? Are you going to buy the Watch 4? Do you have the Watch 3 and you want to keep it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear some information. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Stay tuned for more reviews on the OnePlus Watch 4.